Godzilla X Kong, Guardians of Equestria, written by Phantom Plus 1234, Chapter 18. Queen Novo and the Perfect Destroyer. Having successfully dismantling Godzilla, the party were now making their way towards Mount Ares, only to immediately run into complications. So what now? Asked Bernie. Right, we don't have ships to transport Kong this time around, sighed Eileen. They all look up as Kong stands next to the shore. Can't he just swim? Asked Rainbow Dash. I'm pretty sure the water's not that deep. It's not a matter of whether he can swim or not. He's not really an apt for underwater travel, so having him swim might only slow us down. Then again, Godzilla did almost drown him on their first encounter, said Eileen. Well, maybe we can leopard him to Mount Ares, suggested Pinky. I think it's going to take at least 50 unicorns to leopard him, said Twilight. Even if we did manage to find a way to transport Kong, Methra isn't looking so good, Applejack interjected. They all look up at the Queen of Monsters, who was clearly weakening by the minute. Oh yeah, that doesn't look good, said Capper. It seems like Godzilla really did a number on her in the last fight, said Eileen. Godzilla slowly walks over to his weakened comrade and communicates with her through snorts and growls. Methra let out a weakened screech as she lowered her wings. Godzilla looks over to Kong and growls. As the two titans converse, Kong eventually relents and walks over to Methra before settling down next to her. It seems like Kong will look after Methra for the time being, said Eileen. So we're good to go? Asked Starlight. Wait, do you guys hear that? Trapper asked as the group falls silent. Hear what, darling? Rarity asked. Trapper shushed her as the group listened in. They could almost hear movement coming from the water. What the hey is that? Rainbow asked. Ep. They quickly turned around to see Fluttershy backing up to the shore with a panicked expression. What is that? They look over as a large creature the size of a fully grown human emerges from the water walking on segmented crab-like legs. The creature was covered in reddish-purple armor plating and had a circular opening on its chest with a filled head and glowing orange eyes. Oh shit. Bernie yelped as two more emerge on his side, followed by three and then another two until they were surrounded by the crustacean-like creatures on all sides. Yikes. Twilight attempted to scare away the creatures with her magic, which only managed to anger them further. What are these things? A look of realization dawned upon Eileen as she quickly brought up a suggestion. Does anyone have a lighter? What do we need a lighter for? Asked Trixie. No time to explain, said Eileen. Hey, ain't you a fire-breathing dragon? Capra asked, looking down at Spike. Let's do this, Spike boasted. Capra picked up the baby dragon, aiming his head towards the creatures and pulled on his tail as he spewed a stream of fire at them as they immediately screeched and backed away. After holding them off for a good while, the creatures eventually gave up and scuttled back into the water, disappearing underneath its depths. Quick thinking, Deck, said Pinky. I had a feeling, Eileen sighed. But what exactly were those things? Asked Applejack. I'll explain everything later. If my hunch is correct, then there's a chance we'll run into them again, said Eileen. Oh please, Celeste, no, Rarity whimpers. Come on, we've wasted enough time already, we need to move, said Twilight. Having successfully survived an encounter with the strange creatures, the party resumes their journey towards Mount Ares, leaving Kong to look after Methra while she recovers. Upon arriving at the summit of Mount Ares, they notice the lack of hippogriffs in the area, leaving the quaint village deserted and in ruins. What happened here? Asked Bernie. It's just like the first time, Twilight shuddered as she recalls their first trip here. Don't remind us, said Applejack. The group continued to walk through the ruined city while surveying the damage. Hello? An eye pony, can you hear me? Twilight called out. Oh, I do hope Egg Eye Pony is alright, Rarity sighs. Professor. They stop when a familiar-looking hippogriff is seen at the base of a large staircase. Silverstrom. The ponies ran up to her with relieved expressions. Thanks, Celeste, you're alright, Twilight exclaimed, giving her a hug. Where are the others? They're underwater, Queen Novo was tending to the wounded, Silverstrom answered. Darling, could you catch us up on what exactly happened? Asked Rarity. We were attacked by a human and this giant three-headed monster. He came out of nowhere and declared that our magic belonged to him and began attacking. Silverstrom explained. They all looked at each other. Tobias, Starlight growled. I guess we were too late, said Twilight. But wait, it gets worse, Silverstrom said in a panicked tone. How could it possibly get any worse? Asked Rainbow Dash. After the human and his monster left, we were in the midst of helping the hippogriffs that had their magic stolen when we were attacked by another monster. We call it the Perfect Destroyer. The what now? Asked Applejack. Queen Novo will explain everything. For now you have to come with me and, oh my Celeste, are those humans? Silverstrom gasped upon noticing the Monarch Task Force. Don't worry, we can vouch for them. These humans are not like the one that attacked you, Twilight reassured her. I want to believe you, Professor, but how do I know I can trust them? Asked Silverstrom. Please, Silverstrom, Twilight pleaded with her. Oh, okay, she nodded hesitantly. Thank you, Silverstrom, Twilight let out a sigh of relief. More importantly, the Queen, Starlight reminded. Oh right, follow me. Silverstrom hurried up the staircase with the party following after her. Upon reaching the top, they were greeted by Queen Novo and Princess Skystar, who, although were happy to see Twilight and the ponies, weren't too happy to see their human guests. Absolutely not. Queen Novo growled. Please, Your Majesty, I know you don't have the best impressions of humans after what you just endured, but we promise that they're different. Twilight begged. Look, Twilight, I'm Princess Twilight, we want to believe we really do, but it's kinda difficult after you know. Skystar gave a nervous smile, but Novo immediately shuts her down. This isn't the first time something like this happened. I've learned from my mistakes. Those humans can't be trusted, Novo growls. Now if you'll excuse me, I have important matters to attend to. I don't have time to be making negotiations, especially since the Perfect Destroyer can show up at any time. Silverstrom mentioned that earlier. She said you would explain more about your situation, Starlight interjected. It's as the name suggests, the Perfect Destroyer is a giant red monster that leaves a trail of destruction wherever it goes. It's been terrorizing Mount Ares for a while now and is the sole reason that my subjects now have to live underwater in fear that it may show up again, Novo explained. Big red monster? Fluttershy repeated. Well, if it's a monster you need to get rid of, then we know who can help, said Rainbow Dash. Really? Skystar gasped. Twilight and her friends flash a big grin at the two, but Novo groans. You really think those humans have the power to stop something like the Perfect Destroyer? Forget it, they can't be trusted, Novo hissed. The humans can't, but they're friends with another monster of their own, one that's been defeating every monster that it's crossed paths with, explained Twilight. HMPH, ridiculous. If such a monster existed, then we'd be all dancing and celebrating by now, Novo sneered. But it does exist, the so-called king of the monsters, Twilight added. Who, the king of the monsters? Skystar's eyes light up, clearly intrigued. That does sound powerful. Oh yeah, and where is this king of the monsters right now? Asked Novo. As if on cue, the entire mountain is filled with the sound of Godzilla's roar. What in the name of Celestia? Asked Skystar. That didn't sound good, y'all, said Applejack. Don't tell me. Novo quickly rushed out with Skystar following behind. Let's go too. Twilight and the others turn around and make their way back towards the entrance of the village with Novo. Upon reaching the entrance, they look over to see Godzilla standing next to the mountain. Is that? Asked Novo. Yes, Your Majesty, that's Godzilla, the king of the monsters, answered Twilight. What the hey is that? Rainbow pointed a hoop out in the distance. They followed her hoop to see a giant lobster emerging from the water and quickly making its way towards Mount Ares. Oh, big red monster, that must be the Perfect Destroyer. Pinky cheered. Really, Pinky, an overgrown lobster? Rainbow shook her head. I don't think that's it, darling, Rarity chuckled. Deck, isn't that? Asked Trapper. Yeah, Ever-Terror of the Deep, Elin nodded. Ever screeched as it raised one of its claws and waved it at them in a threatening manner. That can't be the Perfect Destroyer, right? Asked Starlight. Oh no, it was slightly bigger than the thing, Skystar chuckled. So there was a second monster lurking around? Asked Twilight. Hey, this is perfect. Pinky cheered. How? Asked Spike. We need to show Skystar and her mom how strong Godzilla is, right? Said Pinky. Their eyes widened upon realizing what Pinky was getting at. I see where you're going with this, sugar cube, said Applejack. Godzilla roared as he slowly made his way towards Ebra. Ebra screeched as it picked up a nearby boulder and hurled it at them, only for Godzilla to smash it with his claws. Ebra continued to lob more rocks at them, but Godzilla simply smashed each one that came towards his way. Sheesh, talk about weak, can that thing do anything else? Asked Spike. Godzilla, having had enough of Ebra's constant barrage of rocks, blasted it with a dose of his atomic breath. The oversized lobster screeched as it flipped over into the water. As Godzilla moved closer, Ebra's claw shot out from the water and the two began swiping, swinging, and snapping at each other with their claws. Are they fist fighting? Asked Trixie. Looks like it, answered Starlight. They watch as Godzilla grabs Ebra by the claw and flips him over before pummeling his underside as Ebra quickly retreats underwater. As Godzilla searches for Ebra, he's suddenly dragged underwater and disappears into the depths. Is he going to be alright? Asked Skystar. He'll be fine, said Applejack. Godzilla re-emerges from the depths, dragging Ebra by the claw before tearing the limb clean off with a loud audible snap. Everyone grimaced as they heard its pain screech. Ouch, Spike winced. Yeah, I felt that one, agreed Applejack. Sometimes I forget how brutal Godzilla can be, added Starlight. Ebra staggers back as Godzilla begins charging up a blast of atomic breath. Yeah, finish him, Big G. Rainbow cheered. But before he could let loose his attack, he was swiftly interrupted by a stream of purple helix energy raining down from the skies. Godzilla roared as he was knocked back. What the hell was that? Bernie asked. The same purple helix energy rained down, striking Ebra as he screeched before exploding and turning into the same golden light energy as previous monsters. Godzilla slowly rose up from the water and looks up to see something flying overhead. The creature's body was reminiscent from the ones that the group had encountered before, only this time it had wing-like lobes on each side. It had a reptilian-like head with mandibles and a single orange horn protruding from its head. Is that? Asked Twilight. Nova growled as she watched the creature dive into the water. There was a flash of red light before something erupts from the water. It almost resembled the creature from before but was much bigger and bulkier with two bat-like wings on its back and smaller wings on its side. It was now standing on its hind legs with 2 arms ending in 3 claws. The perfect destroyer, Nova growled. Godzilla stared down the monster with burning hatred as it turned its attention towards him. I knew it, Elin said. What is that? Asked Rarity. You guys remember the creatures we fought off earlier, right? Asked Elin. Those creatures were actually juvenile versions of this. Wait, so you're telling me those pony-sized things were just children? Asked Trixie. Elin nods. This is what it looks like when those juveniles comes together and fuses, the perfect form of what we